All right, we were gonna hold off for a while. I got my 11 millimeter on this Matco gun. We figured we had a quick moment where neither one of us really felt like working on more customer stuff for the rest of the day. So I was like, let's do a couple fun things. So we dynoed the stupid Beretta, which was a huge disappointment. Hopefully this is not. So anyways, we wanted to test these X-pipes. That was the whole reason I spent, after I do the tailpipes, a couple more $1,000 to get this damn thing to 3.5 with a little bit bigger X-pipe. So I'm hoping that it gains. I don't know that it will. My hopes and thoughts are it gains a little bit of power, but at least if it gets us back and it doesn't lose power with just the X-pipe hooked up, it was well worth the effort, I guess, in the end. So before we stuff the red truck back in storage or whatnot, I figured we might as well do this really quick. We got a bunch of stuff out of here recently, so that white truck, I'm going to try to get that tuned tomorrow. The 2019, they're a pain in my butt. I'm not very good at them. So I'm going to try to get that out of here. We'll start on that yellow vet. But it's feeling open again. We got some room to move around. So yeah, him and I are going to pull the mufflers off real quick and give it a go. We just took those out. Andrew's crawling out of there. Like in a little bat cave. Mm-hmm. Look at that damn reflection, dude.
I don't know.
Holy shit, even dirty.
It looks pink.
It is pink because it's so bright and great, yeah. So, open X.
On this angle?
So what do you guys think? Do you think the X-pipe is worth it? Over 10 wheel horsepower, I would consider to be worth it. Like I said, don't run out and change it on your own truck yet. Like I said, the cubic inches, the RPM, all this stuff comes into play and dictates what you need or don't need. I wish I would have done it sooner instead of later because it caused me a lot of extra work. But it definitely opened it up. So carried power way higher. So as you can see in the graphs that I posted, that is the trend that I used to see with the 408 and the 429, as it would, open headers would make a good peak, and a little bit of raw power. The X-pipe would help it carry 400 or 500 more RPM, and I've said that in some of the older videos as well. So, like I said, the X-pipe helps scavenge the opposing cylinder, so it'll not pull, but pull some of the air out as the other cylinder is pushing. It kind of helps scavenge and evacuate the exhaust gases that are expelled down through the primaries, through the collector, excuse me. So, I'm a huge fan of X-pipes. I think they work really well. And as you can see, it's pretty awesome how they do work. So I'm glad I did it. It was a lot of work, cost a bunch more money, but the big surprise for that was, Andrew was like, man, I really want the exhaust. And I was like, fine, if you pay for materials, I'll remake it and I'll put it on your truck. So long conversation and that was the big thing. So as soon as he gets his transmission rebuilt and the converter back from FTI, they're converting it to a triple disc. We'll get his truck in here on the hoist and we'll start tacking the exhaust up on his. I hope it doesn't sound nearly as cool on his as it did mine, just because. I'm just kidding. It should sound different, but it'll sound cooler. He's got speed engineering headers, so it will be interesting to see how it sounds through the different, the headers are a totally different design, so it'll be neat to see and neat to hear, and I'm assuming it'll sound pretty cool. So he's got the centrifugal, so it'll sound pretty awesome, and obviously it'll make his truck rev to the moon, which we have an X-pipe on his, but we actually put some cheaper ones. I think it had a stamped steel OEM Z06 X-pipe on it because it was just some stuff that we had laying around. And it was a couple years back where we just back-to-back like 3 different exhaust types. We did like true duals, we did an X-pipe, and then we did the Y-pipe. And it's cool and interesting to see how those change the curve. But, so, that was a lot of work. I still have to make the tailpipes. Not looking forward to it, but I do have all winter, so, it's almost February, so I guess I only have a couple months. And we have a ton of other work in the shop and a ton of stuff coming up. We got extremely busy past the new year, which I'm very thankful for. Andrew started on the yellow Vet today. We got the heads off it so we could decide if we were going to have the customers send them out or do some work to them or what he wanted to do. He was sold the car under the impression the heads were fixed, and they weren't. So we got which I should have anticipated a little better. I kind of thought this way, but we'll get the bottom end and stuff wrapped up, and then that way we can get everything in the car and roll it off to the side before we just pick it up now. But it'll be cool. I can't wait to do this one and make a video on that. Super nice mods, the perfect mods. 2-inch cooks, X-pipe, ported MSD, standard runners, like my car has the short runners, which loses torque and makes power up high. So the 103 throttle from K-Tech, MSD Air Force, Johnson 2116 lifters, CHE trunnion bushings, flex fuel kit. So the standard stuff, 600 wheel kit, 620 maybe. We'll do the BTR Stage 3 V2 in this one, but it'll be pretty sweet. Dun, dun, dun. We did it. Not sure how much it was worth, the extra work, but it's bigger, and that's what everyone thinks is cooler. So bigger X-pipe and some flex couplers. That's the win I got. All right, it's easier to come off. And stuff. So we ended up getting it pretty good. Exactly what it did, or what it did is exactly what I thought it was going to do. Carried power higher into the RPM band. So it made 705 to the tire through the tailpipes, where before it made 699. So a couple spots it lost in, gained some that just carried it farther. So like I said, this was with the tailpipes and everything on, and I'm going to try to get to it here. I'll probably just click out of the screen. See, the red truck got over 100 passes on it. We just beat the crap out of it all the time. Yeah, so this did exactly what I was hoping it would do, and that was to some degree what I expected. So this is kind of the trend that I seen with the old combo. So the 408 and the 429 did the same thing. It would lose a couple of torque in the lower RPM with the X-pipe on versus open headers, and it's the same kind of thing. So this X-pipe not being a restriction now for this cubic inch carries power way out past 7,500, well, to 7,500. So this is off just a few hundred RPM. I had this was the rev limiter, banked it right there. So 7360 is actually 7,600, is a few hundred off. So regardless, whatever. So it does exactly what I thought it would do. It carries power higher in the RPM curve with the X-pipe. That's allowable. So loses some torque down low because the air volume in the exhaust is much larger, so the velocity is lower. And like I said, it did exactly what I hoped it would do for that amount of money and work and time, which if you didn't have exhaust, this is the way to do it in the beginning, but had to do it twice or 3 times. So we got 300 RPM more of peak and 10 wheel. And torque is down a little bit because it didn't make as much torque because it didn't have as much back pressure in that area. And peak torque is higher, which is marginal. But the peak power where it's 40, 50 horsepower in certain areas, where this would have really caved off before, it still carried a little farther. So obviously that air pump for that 502 is done in the 7,500 range. So we'll probably shift it at like 74, 75. But anyways, it's super cool. That's where it made it better. So I can't be super bad. Andrew's going to get the exhaust for his truck, and we'll put it on the Torque Storm truck, which as soon as we start getting some parts in for his, we'll start doing some cool series on his truck. So his made like 750 last year to the tire. We did a really good intercooler from no corners cut, and we're going to pulley it down once we do the intercooler swap. FTI is doing a triple disc converter. He had a single. He tore the converter up last year pretty hard. And so, yeah, we'll have a lot of stuff on that soon, so you guys will enjoy that. But it'll be pretty fun, especially, I can't wait till summer. It's going to be the best summer ever. So, man, I love this exhaust. And I love that RPM 4L60. Those guys are great, and they've always taken really good care of us. So I will never have a bad word to say about them. If I shit this transmission out, a cool part is they can still make it stronger. I don't think that I'm going to hurt it. This one's a level 7 plus, and on the 408 combo with the 200 shot made 775 to the tire. And we ran that level 6 ragged for 4 years straight. So I'm going to assume that we're in the clear for quite some time. It's probably really dark under there, so I'm sorry. But so the X-Pipe was a success. It did what it should do. It carried power higher, and it freed up some exhaust back pressure and some restrictive little X-Pipe area that it used to have. And not like it's I designed this X-Pipe. I didn't design nothing. I just made a nice quality X-Pipe for it. So I think I did a good job on it, though, so it worked out really well. But either way, I'll sign off here. We'll catch you guys soon. Next up, we're going to put some ethanol, 40% ethanol in the Corvette, and we're going to run that back on the dyno. Have a good night. We'll see you guys later.